Hi everyone, I hope you're staying safe and well. Welcome to the Covers Show Part 1. I've been thinking about this show for a few days. Part 2, I'm going to be doing songs written by people that I've met and played with or encountered since Show of Hands have been up and running. Martin Joseph, Tom Robinson, and people like that. A Peter Gabriel song, maybe. But I thought the first half would be like the songs and the artists that really set me on the path before I could play the guitar. So this is almost like a Desert Island Discs. You know, this goes back to when I was just a kid. Yeah. And so you get a bit of Elvis and a bit of Stones and a bit of Kinks, and then it will move into the time when I started to play the guitar at the age of 14. So yeah, this is a bit of Desert Island Discs. The family wasn't musical in the sense that they played a lot. There was always instruments around. I remember my old man had an accordion and a guitar, but it was always full of music. That was in our family, the high status thing was music and I think sport, really. They weren't particularly academic, my folks, but music all the time. And I can remember even as a kid, maybe 5 years old, 4 years old, possibly younger, an old gramophone record when we lived in north of Portsmouth in Cosham. And I remember looking at the Frank Sinatra sleeves, you know, the wee small hours of the morning and all that sort of stuff. And this amazing persona, this loner, you know, leaning on a bar with his trilby and like a blue light. I remember the blue light, the blue covers of those Capitol records. So I remember being very impressed with that persona, you know, the wounded, tough guy, loner, you know. What are the songs? I mean, when somebody loves you, it's no good unless he loves you all the way. Those sort of crooner ballads, you know. So that our house was full of that. And then, of course, came Elvis, you know. And looking back now, it's quite rootsy. Some of that early stuff, you know, is quite rockabilly, isn't it? I'll play you one of the first songs I can ever recall. Phil and I ended up doing this when we used to do the pubs. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't never called right, you ain't no friend of mine. They said you was high class, honey, that was just a lie. You said you were high class, honey, that was just a lie. You ain't never called right, you ain't no friend of mine. Said you was high class, honey, that was just a lie. They said you were high class, honey, that was just a lie. You ain't never go right, you ain't no friend of mine. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't never go right, you ain't no friend of mine. You ain't never go right. Gosh, I can't remember when I played that song last. But, you know, it was done on an acoustic guitar and that amazing persona that Elvis had. And I remember when I was a kid, 7 or 8, 9 years old in Exeter, the big conflict, the big dividing line for gangs was whether you were Cassius Clay, or he wasn't Muhammad Ali at that time, or Sonny Liston. That was like a big sort of excuse to take sides in the playground. This is John Stocker Jr.'s, which is rather a rough school, very Dickensian school in St Thomas's in Exeter. And the other great dividing line was the Beatles or the Stones. And I got inordinate respect for the quality of the Beatles musicianship. They changed everything, but I was drawn to the Stones, really. And believe it or not, this very guitar Mick Jagger played. I played on his solo album Goddess in the Doorway in about 2001. One of his closest friends, Mick Jagger's closest friends, is our good mate Matt Clifford, who was the best man at our wedding and also has played on so much Show of Hands material as a keyboard player. He's now actually part of the Stones. He's actually part of the stage band, but he was always been a close friend of Jagger. And when Mick Jagger wanted some acoustic instruments, I got a call, and off I went to the Powerhouse, I think somewhere in Shepherd's Bush. I think I ended up playing on about 6 tracks, including the Goddess in the Doorway title track. I was playing the cello mandolin, and Mick Jagger was playing this guitar, this very strange, very unique Oddie guitar, and he tuned it to a G, and it's like a big, it's like a big G minor thrash. And I think somewhere there's actually some film. They were making a documentary at the time called Being Mick Jagger. And somewhere there's some footage of he and I around one microphone. I didn't expect him to be there at the session, but they ended up using me for 2 days, and I played on about 6 tracks. Some good stuff on that album. I don't think Keith Richards particularly liked it. But anyway, that's my famous person story for the night. But there's a bit more to it, but I'll save that for another time. So it was Beatles or Stones, and the Stones were the ones. And when Phil and I did work in pubs, it was, excuse me, I still got this frog in my throat, hay fever. It was very much the Stones stuff that we played, I met a Chinso barroom queen in Memphis, that sort of stuff, or All Over Now, or The Last Time. Ruby Tuesday. For some reason, we were more drawn to the Stones material to play in a pub than the Beatles stuff. And I suppose with their obsession with American roots music, blues in particular, and rockabilly, I suppose it's in the tradition of Hound Dog, really. I'll play you a Stones song. All Over Now, yeah. Take me for the same old clown, 'cause I used to love her, but it's all over now. Because I used to love her, but it's all over now. Tables turn, now it's her turn to cry. 'Cause I used to love her, but it's all over now. Because I used to love her, but it's all over now. That was a popular one in the pubs. When we moved to Exeter, after my old man, he ran a electrical music, not a music shop, a DER, Domestic Electric Rentals. He worked there for a while in the middle of South Street, and then that didn't work out, and we moved down across the river to St Thomas's. And for a while, they used to work in a place called the Clock Tower Cafe, which is near between Central Station and St David's Station, and it had a jukebox, and they used to come home with all the records that had been sort of played out. We used to bring them home. So I remember the Byrds, Tambourine Man and Bob Dylan. And I remember this one in particular, the Kinks. Distinctively English, really, weren't they? Although they were playing the same sort of blues stuff that the Stones and the Small Faces were playing, and they were brought up on that sort of stuff. You know, they'd all been playing with Alexis Corner and Clapton and Jimmy Page. They all were in that blues tradition, you know, Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf and all that sort of stuff. But they started producing the amazing, you know, Waterloo Sunset and what's that? There's a crack upon the ceiling, Dead End Street. Amazing social commentary stuff for the late 60s. And I fell in love with Waterloo Sunset. And it seems this is like a lockdown anthem, isn't it, really? Millions of people swarming like flies around Waterloo Underground. I've not played it on the cello mandolin before. Now, I know that proper guitar players out there's so many more chords in this stuff than I can remember, but that's the basic groove, I think. Dirty old river, must you keep flowing, rolling into the night. People so busy, you make me feel dizzy. Taxi lights shine so bright, and I don't feel afraid. Long as I gaze on Waterloo sunset, I am in paradise. As long as I gaze on Waterloo sunset, I am in paradise. Terry meets Julie, Waterloo Station, every Friday night. But I am so lazy, I don't need to wonder. I stay home at night, and I don't need no friends. Long as I gaze on Waterloo sunset, I am in paradise. Every day I look at the world through my window. Chilly, chilly is evening time, Waterloo sunset's fine. Millions of people swarming like flies round Waterloo Underground. Terry and Julie cross over the river where they feel safe and sound, and they don't need no friends. Long as they gaze on Waterloo sunset, they're in paradise. Every day I look at the world through my window. Chilly, chilly is evening time, Waterloo sunset's fine. long as I gaze on Waterloo sunset, I'm in paradise. As long as I gaze on Waterloo sunset, I'm in paradise. Enjoyed singing that. Seems quite resonant now, doesn't it? So these are all songs before I could play the guitar, really. But I sort of wanted to be in that gang, you know. I wanted to be a performer, you know. I can remember even walking home from school, visualising, I think there's a word now, visualising myself playing. Before I could play a note, really, before I could even pick up a guitar. This is about 9, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, that sort of time. Maybe a bit younger. The first single I ever bought was Wishing Well by Free from the Left Bank in Exeter, where you could go and there was these listening booths, you know, all cork lined, and you could put on the record and you could listen to it before you bought it. And da da dum dum da da dum dum. I think they were the definitive rock band, Free. You know, when I first heard All Right Now, Andy Fraser was 16. And it looked like they were living the rock and roll life. And I think Andy Fraser was 16, maybe Paul Rodgers and Simon Kirke and Paul Kosoff, they might have been 18 or 19, but they must have done 1,000 gigs. You should tune into some early Free stuff, because yeah, they were just the business. I think I saw them at the Isle of Wight Festival in 1970. I'm not sure, because I was a bit out of it. I was on the side of the hill, and I couldn't get into the arena, and I was sleeping on the side of the hill, and it was brilliant. I mean, unbelievably steep in those, you know, what I mean in those days, you know. And the only way you could sit comfortably was to hollow out some of the chalk and the earth, and the grass was like flax. It was like yellow wax, you know. And every now and then someone would fall asleep in those new sleeping bags, because they just brought in the nylon sleeping bags, and they would wake up, tobogganing down the hill, knocking into more people, and you go, oh, here's another one, you know. As soon as you straightened out, you were off. But I'm sure Free were there. I know Hendrix was there, and I've always loved the band Free. And the only cover that I know is My Brother Jake, if I can remember it. I'm going to have to get up the words. I got them down here. Where is it? Where are you, Jake? Yeah. And on the cello mandolin, you can play that little riff. So if I can remember My Brother Jake, it's a bit of a range to hit. You on your way, what's wrong with you? That F sharp, I'll try and get it if I can. So again, this is pre-folk club days. My brother Jake, hot shades, head in a daze. My brother Jake. I'm gonna have to start that again, because here we go. My brother Jake, hot shades, head in a daze. I'm going to start again, because I didn't bring up the first verse. Knightley. Rewind. Here we go. My brother Jake, hat, shades, head in a daze. My brother Jake, have you thought about changing your ways? He goes out and he don't have no doubt. He don't have to know what the world's about. My brother Jake, head down, is scraping the ground. Jake, stay away. You know you can't always Whoa. It was worth the full start. What's wrong? Wow, those are some high notes. I shall gather my thoughts. Now we get into some of the first songs I heard on the folk scene. The finger picking songs. Martin Simpson does a beautiful version of this Jackson C. Frank song, Blues Around the Game. And when we started to finger pick at the age of 14 or 15, obviously Ralph was out and about, and a lot of these troubadours used to come down to the Deer Leap pub, the finger picking, the Cliff Angé and Jerry Loughran. And they used to be on the Friday night TV sometimes, Westwood TV, West Country TV. And so we learnt how to finger pick, and it was either this one, Blues Around the Game, that I was going to play, or National 7, and Whiz Jones and people like that, and Bert Yance, and that whole gang used to go down to Cornwall. It was almost like that was their Kerouac, West Coast, hanging out in Cornwall for the summer. The Decameron mob as well, Johnny Coppin and all the guys used to go down. We were only 14 or 15, they were sort of 10 years older than us, but I'll play you a Mike Chapman song in a bit as well, because we used to sit in awe at his feet at the Exmouth Folk Club. Mike used to come down from Hull, and it was only when I did some research and I listened to Mike singing, I realised how close he and Martin Simpson. They're both from Hull. There's a lot of similarities in their sort of intonation and the sort of vocalisation, which and I mean that as a tribute to both of them. So. Anyway, back to this song. I'm going to have to tune up for this. So, this is Blues Around the Game. I very rarely use tunings with show of hands. I'm just tuning the G down a semitone to G flat. And the E down to D. I haven't played this for years, and it's quite complex. The finger picking. It's not really my thing. The finger picking thing. I'll have a go at it. I don't know what it is that's so appealing about the song. That sort of Martin Carthy said something once. That most beautiful and precarious of emotions, resignation. I think he was talking about Polly on the Shore, but I think this song has got the same sort of feeling, really. And it's back to that American wounded loner, the tough guy, the solitary figure on the road. Such an appealing persona when you're a youngster. So if I can remember it. Goes like this. Catch a boat to England, honey, maybe to Spain. Wherever I have been, wherever I've been and gone, wherever I have been, the blues, they run the game. Call out for whiskey, mama. Call out for gin. Me and room service, honey. Me and room service, girl. Me and room service, well, we're living our lives in sin. When I'm not drinking, honey, you're on my mind. When I'm not sleeping, honey, when I'm not sleeping, babe, When I'm out drinking, well, you know, you'll find me crying. Try another city, honey, try another town. Wherever I have been, wherever I've been, I'm gone. Wherever I have been, the blues come falling down. Living is a gamble, honey, loving's much the same. Wherever I have played, wherever I throw them dice, wherever I have played the blues, they run the game. Maybe tomorrow, honey, somewhere down the line, I'll wake up older, mama, wake up so older, babe. I'll wake up older and I'll stop on my train. Catch a boat to England, honey, maybe to Spain. Wherever I have been, wherever I've been, I'm gone. Wherever I have been, the blues, they run the game. Whew. Most of that I think I got right. That was tough. Oh, lovely song. Lost myself in that. So we wandered down to the ABC Cinema, and Jethro Tull, the Thick as a Brick tour. What a band in full flow. I mean, people talk about folk rock, and I suppose you have some folkies who have rocked it up, but this is the other way around. This is a proper rock and roll band who discovered sort of roots via the blues again, I suppose. And ooh, let me get in tune. Oh bugger, I tuned this for the other song. And Thick as a Brick. I think me and Paul could sing along to the whole thing. Really don't mind if you sit this one out. And Ian Anderson had this little Martin New Yorker guitar with a Barker's Berry pickup gaffer taped on top of it. But somehow it used to cut through the band, you know, in full flow, you know, that very sort of brilliant flat picking. Really don't mind if you sit this one out. My words but a whisper, your deafness say shout, bang, and then the volume would kick in. Heavy Horses, and in particular Songs from the Wood. What an amazing album that is. Genuine rock folk. Check it out. But my cover is one of his very gentle and tender waltz time songs. And I suppose I could have chosen 3 or 4 of those lovely 3/4 waltz time songs. Tiptoes in Silence, Nursey, there's that one. Or there's Ducks on the Wall. But the one I'm going to do is Wandering Aloud, which I think is such a tender, very short but a very tender song, if I can remember. Wandering aloud, how we're feeling today. Last night slipped the sunset, my hands in her hair. We are our own saviors as we start, both our hearts beating life into each other. Wandering aloud, will the years treat us well? As she floats in the kitchen, I'm tasting the smell of the toast as the butter runs, and she comes spilling crumbs on the bed, and I shake my head, and it's only the giving that makes you da 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 what you are. Short and sweet, but I think you get the picture. I cannot stray down my covers Desert Island discs without encountering the colossus that is Bob Dylan, you know. And on that note, in walks Claire. Claire, I'm singing songs that were written before you were born.
Excuse me?
Yeah. This is my musical Desert Island discs.
Miss, your what?
Desert Island discs.
Your what?
Desert Island discs.
Let's say that again.
Desert Island discs. I'm doing Dylan and Stones and Free and Elvis.
Is that any good?
No, it's rubbish.
What are you doing?
I'm doing covers, songs that influenced me before you were born.
It's nice to know.
Yeah. What was it you wanted?
Do you need anything?
No, I'm fine, actually.
Why have you changed the lights?
I wanted it to be a bit more warm and flattering.
Why have you got a thing on a tripod thing?
Yeah, that's...
Did you find the super glue?
Yeah, I did. That's what's mended the tripod.
Alright. So, any songs for your wife?
No, not tonight.
Oh, okay.
No. Is that all? Thank you.
Should I go?
You better go now, yeah.
Are the lights a bit more flattering?
They
It's
are.
not like Marcus. It's not like when Marcus lights it, is it?
No, it's not
the same.
It's not as like when Marcus likes it.
Do you know what you said earlier on? Can I talk to the camera?
Go on then.
Are you tuning while I'm talking?
Yeah.
He said he was getting...
Who, me?
Yeah, you. He said he's getting changed in the bedroom. He's going, I'm getting a bit nervous before these.
I treat them
It's like he's getting nervous to talk to himself in front of his camera.
I'm talking to dozens of people out there. Literally dozens. Anyway, can I carry on now?
Yeah, bye. See you later.
Bye. Right, I'll be late.
You'll be late. Do you want to sleep out here tonight?
What, like I'm on tour?
Yeah.
No.
What are all those in that bin?
Drumsticks.
Is that like I will go. But look,
That's Jack's drumstick.
it's like a drumstick graveyard.
Anyway, back to my Desert Island discs and the influence.
see you later.
Bye-bye. I was talking about Bob Dylan.
Sorry, I spent quite a long time talking.
This is called Girl from a North Country, and originally I thought it was about girls from Barnstable.
Why have you got mouthwash in here?
Go away. Go away. Can you
Should I
go?
take it aside?
Yeah.
Bye.
That was an interlude, wasn't it? That was a bit of... Yeah, the Freewheeling Bob Dylan album. I know I keep going on and on about how influential it was, but it's just that persona, you know. And even as I'm doing this show, I'm thinking of the Elvis persona and Jagger and Catch a Boat to England. The loner, the outsider, the performer. I don't know why I was drawn to that so much. But Dylan sort of like defined the troubadour. You know, the guy with the guitar out on the road. Whether he was jumping on trains as a hobo, who knows? Doesn't really matter, does it? But this was my all-time favourite Bob Dylan song. The way her hair rolls and flows down her breast, I just think it's just poetry. Girl from a North Country. If you're travelling to the North Country Fair, where the winds hit heavy on the borderline, remember me, the one who lives there. She once was a true love of mine. If you go when the snowflakes storm, when the rivers freeze and the summer ends, please see she has a coat so warm to keep her from the howling winds. Please see from me that her hair's hanging long. It rolls and flows all down her breast. Please see from me that her hair's hanging long. That's the way I remember her best. I'm wondering if she remembers me at all. It's many years the time I've often prayed in the darkness of my night and in the brightness of my day. So if you're traveling to the North Country Fair, where the winds hit heavy on the borderline, remember me, the one who lives there. She once was a true love of mine. Oh, she once was a true love of mine. So, we're almost getting up in the chronology of this Dick Island, Desert Island discs. I did one at Towsey Festival and I really enjoyed it, and I think some of these songs were on it really. So this is a covers show, and I say tomorrow I'm going to be doing covers, a couple of Tom Robinson songs, not tomorrow, but the next for part two, which will probably go out a week tonight, because there's the Show of Hands film at the Minack on this Friday. So do tune into that. A different PayPal link because it's going to a dedicated film production to cover some of the costs of that. For the Minack, and that's this Friday, so tune into that. And I shall be probably doing, in between the covers show and covers part 2, a little how to play video for Santiago. I've done Cousin Jack, Go Away Farmer, maybe 3, what else, and Are We All Right? But I'll do it for basic guitar players. You know, I'll do a basic how to play using guitar chords, and I'll talk you through, say, playing 3 songs. So I'll probably put that out on Thursday night, which will be tomorrow by the time this comes out. So again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the Honesty Box contributions that trickle in every now and then. There's a little pink, and there's anything between a £5. Somebody sent me rather a bit more, because they use some of the music at a very personal ceremony for the family, and so they just wanted to say thank you. So again, what can I say? I'm immensely gratified to be able to earn anything for the next few months. Who knows how long this lockdown is going to last. And my thoughts go out to all of you. I'm lucky we're living in the West Country, and we are surrounded with green fields, more or less, and space, and we can leave the house and walk to and fro, more or less. That was Claire earlier. She's off tomorrow in her scrubs to do her GP work. And I'll finish. I mentioned him earlier, Mike Chapman. He used to come down from Hull and to play his wonderful songs. It was the album Rainmaker. I think Paul Downs could play every track on that, including the instrumental. I probably could have chosen maybe 4 or 5 of Mike's songs. But again, it occurs to me, even as I'm playing these songs, this is again the on-the-road wanderer persona that's cropped up on 3 or 4 of these songs tonight, if not more. It's the same guy as Blues Round the Game, same guy as Wandering Aloud. It's the same guy in The Girl from a North Country. So now I can see why I was drawn to these characters. Isn't it amazing? The sort of loner troubadour. Yeah. This has got a nice summer feel. It's called No Song to Sing. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Sunshine was the name I gave her, 'cause she turned my winter into spring. Now she's turned the summer into autumn, left me with no song taking all the music and the laughter, left me with no song to some strange and foreign household, sleeping only as the dawn begins to rise, saying goodbye in the morning on the highway, trying to hide what's going behind my eyes. Smiling as I light one more cigarette, trying to hide what's going on behind my eyes. In the quiet of the evenings when I miss her, remembering the sounds she used to make, remembering the smell of her perfume, floating dying flowers across the lake, waiting for the time to start a new day, floating dying flowers across the Sunshine was the name I gave her. Ah, she turned my winter into spring. Now she's turned the summer into autumn, left me with no song, no song. Taken all the music and the laughter, left me with no song to sing. Stay safe and well. Catch up later.